Hello everyone, we gotta talk XRP right now because this is too important to ignore. eGreg comes out swinging with this declaration. Mark my words, XRP will melt faces again in 4 to 6 weeks. Now here's what's cracking me up. I'm scrolling through comments and people are losing it like, oh, perfect, so we're basically sitting ducks for another month and a half? Come on, guys. Listen, that move is coming way faster. The second those ETFs flip the switch and go operational, XRP's gonna rocket so hard your head will spin. Thursday's the big day. Tomorrow, when we finally get some real answers.
Let me paint you a picture here. You're eyeing that sweet $6 to $10 exit point, right? Well, you're looking at pulling that trigger probably late November-ish, maybe somewhere in mid-December. But hold up. What eGreg's actually laying out for you is that the mind-blowing numbers, the stuff that makes your jaw drop, that's the delayed gratification play. Literally everyone and their cousin keeps hammering this point. Q1 next year is shaping up to be absolutely bonkers for anyone holding XRP. And you know what? Count me in on that prediction. But only if these ETFs actually cross the finish line. The big players are about to dump massive amounts of money into this space, and you better believe we're going to witness those numbers climbing consistently every single month. Take a second and remember what went down with those Bitcoin ETFs. Absolutely insane, right? I've got this strong feeling XRP is about to experience that same rocket fuel effect. XRP will make more millionaires than Bitcoin ever did. Now here's where it gets interesting. That's only happening if people can actually keep their hands steady and avoid hitting that sell button prematurely. What absolutely baffles me is seeing everyone sprint towards converting their holdings back into good old US dollars. I mean, come on, what's the actual strategy there? Let me throw out a better idea. If you're really itching to take some chips off the table with your XRP, just swap it over to a stablecoin instead. Please, whatever you do, don't funnel it straight into your traditional bank account. Because check this out, the US dollar keeps hemorrhaging its buying power day after day. On the flip side, stablecoins, they're locked in at that value, and you're collecting passive returns on them across multiple platforms. Now, let me tell you where I stand personally. I'm absolutely not feeling any pressure to dump my crypto assets during this market cycle. You need to hear this loud and clear. Passive income mechanisms are dropping in the very near future. That fantasy of keeping our crypto forever without ever selling, we're literally standing at the doorstep of making that happen. Swift recovery we saw in SHIB-E and even XRP turned into nothingness overnight as bears woke up and pressured market down. So here's what bugs me. Why is nobody mentioning Bitcoin in this whole conversation? I mean, come on, that's literally the story here. Bitcoin took a nosedive and naturally everything else came crashing down right behind it. And you know what blows my mind? So many folks still haven't figured out that we're basically handcuffed to Bitcoin's price action until we manage to break free. Oh, and there's this whole crowd that's convinced those ETFs are going to be the game changer that finally sets XRP loose from Bitcoin's grip. Man, trust me, I'm right there with you hoping that becomes reality, but let me tell you something, XRP's momentum, yeah, that's nowhere near dead. I'm seriously buzzing with excitement about what's coming next for XRP. Here's what could drive XRP towards $15 to $20 before the market structure bill passes. This comes from Future XRP. I'd encourage every XRP holder to remember it's possible the price moves rapidly this month, but it's equally possible it's steady until the market structure bill passes. If $5 to $10 billion of fresh cash really flows in, I expect momentum towards 10 to 20. We could stall near 10 from profit taking before leveling around 15 to 20 until legal clarity arrives. And here's what I can already predict. Loads of people are going to smash that sell button the second we touch $10. That price target's been living rent-free in the XRP community's mind forever. The XRP community's been chanting the same mantra. Hit that $10 sweet spot and I'm cashing out completely. But here's where I'm going to challenge that thinking. I'm betting big we're soaring way beyond that target. And all those people bailing at $10, that selling frenzy could ironically be the spark that sends XRP into orbit right as the market structure bill comes into play. Oh, and another prediction,
Once Uncle Sam's back in business, I'm convinced that market structure bill is getting fast-tracked big time. So listen to this gem. Phil Kwok from EasyA just published something in the Financial Times that completely blew my mind. In the Financial Times, the trick to being a multi-billionaire is having zero liquidity. This is so bullish for crypto. The tokenization of every asset will give every billionaire access to instant liquidity. This will bring trillions into crypto, and it's not just the ultra-rich who want this. Everyone will want the tokenized asset because everything else is only second best. Crypto will no longer play second fiddle to TradeFi. He's totally nailed it. Tokenization is about to change everything. Think about this for a second. Everyday investors, everyday people turning their stuff into digital assets. Could be that classic automobile they're holding on to, could be some innovative business idea they're hustling to build. When this tokenization craze catches fire, trust me, it's gonna spread like crazy. Absolutely everyone jumping on board. And when does this party start? Right when regulations finally land. The instant those regulatory frameworks click into place, get ready. We're looking at a tidal wave of wealth and capital crashing straight into the XRP ledger. But here's what's really fascinating. All these tokenized assets need a home base, right? And you're going to need some way to swap them back and forth effortlessly. Enter XRP. Problem solved. The big boss at Evernorth, Ashish Barla, explains this whole thing brilliantly. Seriously, you need to listen to what he's putting out there.
So let's talk Evernorth. To give an overview of this company, what's the mission and why XRP was chosen as the digital asset?
The mission is really to make it easier for folks to buy, hold, and get exposure to XRP. It's for us, Tony. We've been in this space a long time. We know how to manage wallets. We know how to manage cryptocurrencies. But for the large part of the world that it's too difficult, for big institutions that want exposure to this asset class in XRP, that's too complicated. So the idea behind Evernorth is let's make it as easy as buying Tesla stock in your brokerage account, your E-Trade account, your Fidelity account, your Robinhood account. Just like you buy that stock, you can buy XRPN, the ticker for Evernorth, and you get exposure to XRP as an asset class. And we don't stop there. You also get to participate in the strategies that we'll develop at Evernorth, like yield strategies. And with those yield strategies, a portion of that yield that we generate will go back into the treasury. So we'll use that yield to buy more XRP and add to the treasury. And the goal here for Evernorth shareholders is to maximize XRP per share. And why did I choose XRP? I'll answer that question. One, I really believe in this future that the financial world is going to be reformed, and there's going to be a revolution, and that revolution is going to start on a blockchain, and it's spurred by that innovation around the blockchain. And early on, the XRP creators decided that they wanted to build a blockchain that was optimized for financial use cases. This was back in 2012. Maybe that's mainstream now, but this is back in 2012 to create an ecosystem, to create a technology that's optimized for payments, that's optimized for tokenized assets. Today, we call those real world assets or RWAs, but the ability to have these equities, real estate, and so forth, tokenized and available for the world on a blockchain. That's what the XRP ledger and supporting technologies are good for. So, I decided XRP, obviously, with my, history, that made a lot of sense. But I also noticed, Tony, that there's no digital asset treasury of significance around XRP, and that made it a no-brainer. Let's go do it.
For sure. So would it be safe to say you're looking to become the MicroStrategy of XRP, MicroStrategy specifically focused on Bitcoin?
I'm excited about building on the XRP ecosystem. I think the world should know about what's going on in terms of financialization on a blockchain. And I think the world's going to look very different in 10 years than it is for now in the financial world because of technologies like XRP, but also all the accompanied technologies that support the infrastructure around XRP, like the stablecoin, which is growing rapidly, that serves, Tony, as on and off ramps. That was a big piece that was missing. How do you get onto a blockchain? Well, stablecoins solves a part of that. And Evernorth helps institutions and retail investors get on and off and participate in the ecosystem, the DeFi ecosystem around the XRP ledger as well.
So with regards to Evernorth, and this is a rookie question because I'm still trying to grasp the idea fully of digital asset treasury companies. Is that a company that existed before with sort of services and products, or is it a brand new company specifically focused on the XRP treasury, or does it have, like I said, other means of revenue and services and things like that?
No, we are 100% focused on XRP. We're building a digital asset treasury, but it's an active treasury, and that we will be putting the XRP to use. We have a a traditional strategy, and we have a DeFi strategy, and we want to use the XRP ecosystem to generate yield on the DeFi strategy side of things. That'll help that ecosystem flourish, but it'll also be good for the Evernorth digital asset treasury as well.
So here's the brilliant strategy North is cooking up. They're looking to generate yield from their XRP holdings, and then, here's where it gets good, reinvest that yield straight back into purchasing additional XRP. That's the exact blueprint I've been shouting from the rooftops for everyone to follow. XRP holders pay attention to this approach because think about it. You're collecting monthly returns from your XRP position while simultaneously increasing your XRP holdings. Look, even if you're only redirecting 20% of those returns back into XRP, do it. And here's the beautiful part. While you're growing that bag, your passive income is scaling right alongside it. Now here's something crucial. Remember our discussion about how XRP is going to be in at the center of the new financial system? He basically confirmed that concept, maybe using different language, but the message is clear. That's been Ripple's North Star from day one. Oh, and he dropped another bombshell. We're about to see a massive wave of tokenized assets flooding onto the XRP ledger, which means, you guessed it, even more XRP getting locked up and removed from circulation. David Weisberger, former chairman of CoinRoots, has shared his insights on the ongoing debate between Bitcoin and XRP. He's out here saying that $1,000 price calls are absurd for XRP. And then he starts going off about market cap and all that stuff. But here's the thing. The moment someone brings up market cap, I'm literally checking out. Like, I'm done listening to whatever else they've got to say. Why? Because if you're fixating on market cap, you clearly don't get utility. And utility, that's the secret sauce that's going to push XRP to those insane price levels somewhere down the road. So when's all this going to go down? Look, I've been saying this for a while now. We're looking at the next 2 years tops. I genuinely believe we're about to witness the birth of this brand new financial system within that time frame. We're talking institutional adoption that's going to snowball into mass adoption, and at the exact same time, banks are going to be staring down the barrel of a massive liquidity crisis. Guess what they're going to need? You got it, XRP. On-demand liquidity, my friends. This is coming way faster than most people realize. And then he goes and brings up Bitcoin, talking about how amazing it is. Bitcoin user pays over $105,000 in Bitcoin to send just $10. Right on cue, the Bitcoin maximalists came swarming in, claiming it was just an error, saying it was how the transaction was set up, blah, blah, blah. But here's what they're conveniently forgetting. This isn't even the first time we've seen something like this happen. This is the smoking gun that proves Bitcoin's already yesterday's news. Think about it for a second. Who in their right mind is going to embrace a payment system where you're literally standing around for 10 minutes watching paint dry, all while getting absolutely hammered with ridiculous transaction costs? Let me give you a real-world scenario. Imagine you pop into Starbucks for your morning caffeine fix, and suddenly you're that guy holding up everybody behind you for a full 10 minutes. Plus, you're dropping 4 times the actual cost of your drink just to complete the purchase. Does that sound remotely practical to anyone? That's your proof right there. Bitcoin's living in the Stone Age, not leading us into some revolutionary future. The masses just haven't caught on to this reality check yet. This whole digital gold story everyone keeps repeating, complete fairy tale. We're literally seeing legitimate tokenized gold making its way onto blockchains right now. And this store of value myth they keep pushing, give me a break. Every single time there's even rumors of trouble brewing somewhere across the globe, Bitcoin nosedives. But here's my prediction. The second XRP truly cuts ties with Bitcoin for good, we're going to watch Bitcoin fade into the history books. Trust me on this, it's coming. SoFi CEO Anthony Noto confirms banks like SoFi can now legally offer crypto services, buy, sell, and hold digital assets. And they're breaking ground as the very first institution doing this. Listen to what he says.
Nice to see you, sir, in person.
Good to see you as well.
Okay, so what's going on here? This is a big deal.
Yeah, this morning,
a very big deal for you.
It is a very big deal. It's a big day and a big milestone. Reverses the course of time.
It does.
We've wanted to be a one-stop shop for all your financial services needs, and one of the holes we've had for the last 2 years was in cryptocurrency, the ability to buy, sell, and hold crypto. We were not allowed to do that as a bank. It was not permissible. But in March of this year, the OCC came out with an interpretive letter that it's now permissible for banks like SoFi to offer cryptocurrencies. So this morning we're launching as the only national bank, the first and only national bank, the opportunity to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana.
So I was going to ask, are we just talking about 3 for now?
We'll expand well beyond 3. It'll be a pretty broad assortment. We try to differentiate on being fast, having broad selection, great prices, ease of use. So we'll try to give members, SoFi members, as much selection as they would like.
And what's the difference between going through you and going through Coinbase or going through Robinhood or somebody else?
Yeah, there's a couple of really big differences. First, we're a nationally chartered bank, which means we have the infrastructure, the processes, the financial conditions that provides the safeguards that a consumer would expect from a bank, which is going to allow us to scale responsibly. The second thing is because we are a one-stop shop, you can do all your banking, checking, and savings at SoFi, your borrowing, and your investing, and now crypto. And one of the unique things about that is when you come to SoFi and fund your crypto investments, you'll fund them in a SoFi checking and savings account. That checking and savings account's deposits earn interest.
Say that again. You're going to fund it with crypto?
You're going to fund
your checking account.
You're going to fund your checking account with cash.
Okay.
And then when you buy Bitcoin or Solana or Ethereum, the money will come straight out of your checking and savings account. So when you're not putting cash to work, it's not sitting in an account that earns no interest, and it's not sitting in an account that's not insured. So the money will sit in an FDIC insured account. Up to $2 million is what we offer. And when you buy, it will instantly withdraw from that account and send it to the marketplace.
And every other bank will start to follow their lead. They don't have a choice. This comes from Cyprus. When executives from banks with over $16 billion in assets start publicly breaking down DeFi concepts like yield, farming, staking, and liquidity pools, it's time to pay attention. This post was from Wade Peary, Chief Innovation Officer at First Bank, says it all. The bank sector is no longer ignoring DeFi. They're learning it, adopting it, and preparing to integrate it. He explained it perfectly. Yield farming equals playing the bank's role, yourself being your own bank. Staking a certificate of deposit plus infrastructure, ownership, liquidity pools. Running a mini currency exchange. While most retail traders still think this space is too risky, the institutions are studying and positioning themselves quietly. Okay, so picture this. It's like watching the first domino tip over, and now the whole line is going down whether they like it or not. There's literally no escape route here for traditional banks anymore. What's wild is how the entire financial establishment is waking up to reality. These institutions aren't sitting around debating anymore. They're actively doing their homework, taking notes, and quietly building their game plan behind closed doors. Fast forward to 2026, and guys, what we're going to witness isn't just another trend. It's a full-blown revolution that'll make today's moves look like baby steps in comparison. So here's what's about to go down. We're not talking about a couple of random banks testing the waters here. Nah. We're looking at waves of banks discussing this stuff on repeat, day in and day out. You know what I mentioned before, right? All it needs is one bank to light the fuse and boom, that network effect explodes into action. Why? Because the banks that get in on this early, they're snatching up that massive edge over everyone else. And those banks sitting on the sidelines, yeah, they're going to scramble to catch up real quick, or they'll just fade into irrelevance. But check this out. Every single piece of this puzzle, it's all pointing toward the internet of value. Everything happening right now is building momentum for the rise of the Phoenix XRP. And look, until that big moment finally hits, just keep your cool, keep that mindset positive. All right, friends, that's where I'm closing things out today. Appreciate every one of you tuning in. Catch you in the next upload.